Hi everyone, and welcome to today's Chrissy B show. And as you can see, I'm on location and we are filming in the rather breezy Broadstairs in Kent. So as you know, on the programme, we love to encourage our viewers not only to get help for their issues, but also to actually reach for their dreams and thrive. And with that in mind, we have on a very special guest today, and that's John Goldwyn, who is the Vice President of WATG London, which is a luxury design architectural firm, and he heads the planning and landscape team. Now, John is currently working on a design that actually promotes wellness and healing. So he doesn't just create places that are beautiful, but he creates and designs things where all the actual senses are stimulated, so that promotes wellness and well-being, which is what our show is all about. And he's going to be showing us some of his designs a bit later on. Also on today's programme, we have on our resident psychologist, Dr. Audrey Tang, who's actually going to be interviewing John, but also speaking about why it's so important not just to kind of get by in life, but actually try and do your best to thrive as well. We also have on declutter expert Sally Walford, who'll be speaking about what you can do to bring that extra little something special to your homes. And we also have fitness expert Natalia Kotowska with this week's workouts. We'll also be going to Hannah Richards' kitchen, and she'll be showing us a really good idea on how to store our fruit salads when we're on the go. And we also have nutritionist Lily Suter, who'll be answering all of your nutritional questions. And finally, we'll be highlighting a very good cause that we had on the programme not so long ago called the Felix Project, that actually collect food that is going to go to waste and gives that food to the needy and to charities. And we were so impressed with their work that we decided to film them on location. So everyone, lots to get through. So let's first go to John Goldwyn, interviewed by Dr. Audrey Tang.
Thanks, Chrissy. Welcome to the show, John.
Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure to be able to interview you today because I firmly believe that architecture and our settings do play a huge role in our mental health. And as a designer, a landscape architect, you have an enviable opportunity to structure that. So can you first of all tell us a little bit about WATG, its heritage, what it stands for?
Of course, yeah. WATG stands for Wimberley, Allison, Tong and Gu. We're a firm that's been around for nearly 75 years, and I suppose we were formed in the sort of aftermath of the Second World War in Hawaii. It was the time that Pan-Pacific travel was starting as well, so a sort of very romantic time, and really from a very early stage we decided to focus as a firm very much on destination design and this sort of synthesis of place and people.
Wow, and what drew you into planning and landscape architecture?
As a child, I always enjoyed being out in nature, and I grew up by the river, and my parents took me on endless walks to up forests and up mountains, and I think it was just always part of who I was from a very early stage.
Could you tell me a little bit about your favourite projects that you're working on at the moment?
Sure. It's very interesting. Recently, I think I've started to think very differently about the way that we work, and it probably all started about 4 or 5 years ago when a client came to me with an opportunity in Istanbul, right in the centre, right in the middle of Istanbul, and what they asked for was essentially a very urbanistic approach to a project. So they were expecting a piazza with lots of strong architectural statements and a place, a little bit like a sort of Piccadilly Circus or somewhere for people to congregate. And we looked at the brief and we thought, this is all fine and this is really interesting. But what we really wanted to do was give them something that didn't exist in the city. So we ended up planting 500-year-old olive trees and putting bean bags under the olive trees for people to gaze up into the sky and for kids to be able to see butterflies and bees. And we ended up essentially with a wildflower meadow and all of these different very soft elements. And I think that's really what started to turn the way that, that me and the team were thinking about projects.
That's amazing. So why is it so important to promote this sense of wellness, well-being through your designs?
I think that the architects and designers think so much about the way that places look, and we're surrounded by visuals. Architects create visuals of projects, and you see a photorealistic recreation or creation of how a project's going to look. But no one really thinks, or till now, I don't think people have been thinking enough about the way that people will feel when they're in a space and what it will do to them and what it will... sometimes people just need a place to be. They don't need to be taken on necessarily on an architectural journey to a space. They just need somewhere to go and think and sit. And I think that for so many years, architecture's been around the visual side and not really around the sensory side of things.
So you're doing something actually very special. You really bring out the senses in the work that you do. So how do you incorporate all of those senses into your projects?
Some of it is really simple. The way that, for example, if you imagine that you're in a particular space and you close your eyes and you can feel the breeze on your face, or if you're able to observe grasses swaying gently in that same breeze, or if you can have a site where you're not guided around by signage, you're guided around by fragrance or something like this. So it can be very, very tactile and it can be very sensory. And I think that all the five senses are equally prevalent through this kind of approach to work.
And is there anything in your designs where you've really kind of captured that essence of touch or smell or something that you've put into the work that you're doing?
I really would say that we do it with everything these days. I think it's really kind of baked into what we're doing now. For example, it could be something as simple as the smell of food in a particular place, or something that's quite kind of high level, or it could be something that really speaks to something far more personal about a certain fragrance from a plant, or a certain, we've experimented with barefoot biophilic gardens where you take your shoes and socks off and you walk through a space and you experience this notion really through your feet rather than the other ways of touching or interacting with something. That's
amazing. And what is the timescale for this kind of work?
Well, that's the problem. A lot of the work that we're doing, it all really started with a refreshed purpose this year. I sat down with the team and we talked about the fact that there was so much bad stuff going on in the world, and so many, I suppose, negative things around us. We're surrounded by so many negative stories in the news and things. And we decided that we would put a positive spin onto every single project that we were doing, and we would always try and embrace this sort of positivity in everything we're doing. But the problem is that it takes a while for these projects to get built. So things that we were concepts and ideas and this sort of more of an understanding, hopefully, of wellness and mental health that we were talking about in January is going to start being constructed later this year and obviously into next year.
That's amazing. And when it comes to our human interaction with places, we do attach to things, we build memories into them, and sometimes people feel that architects come in and then they just tear things down and put something brand new up there, but that's not what it is you're doing. So how does your work differ?
I think that a lot of stories that you talk about that are constructed were there as layers of history. So if you take any place, whether it be London or Stonehenge or wherever you might think, this idea that there are many, many layers of history and time, and these are sort of overlaid with human interaction. It might be agriculture, or it might be trade routes, it might be the river through the city or something like that. And again, architects tend to be thinking about themselves and expressing their particular philosophy through their buildings, which is what you're talking about. But I think that often it's the stories in the land, and even just letting the land speak are the most interesting things of all. And again, not thinking about the way that something necessarily looks, because we're so visually based in my profession, thinking about this notion of how people interact with a space and thinking about how people, it might not even be the focus on people enjoying themselves in a place. It might just be a place to just go and express themselves or be creative or just sit and do nothing.
That's amazing. And where do you feel that architecture can really make that impact on mental health and well-being and growth and thriving?
In Mauritius at the moment, we're working on a project, a smart city, and a smart city is basically this notion where you use technology and new ideas, the Internet of Things, to create urban situations. But we've really pushed back against that and used Mother Nature to guide us through the design of the project. For example, we're looking at creating places where people can sit outside in a place. Again, Mauritius is a developing country, and typically people sit at home and watch football with their family or, you know, sort of socialise in a very internal space. And we've looked at this idea of creating an alfresco community where people can go and congregate. And again, this is in the developing part of Mauritius, where there's all sorts of people that wouldn't normally have exposure to this kind of lifestyle, and as a result of that, they're able to go and, as I said, express themselves or congregate or socialise. And I think a part of that is this understanding that their mental health and their wellness and their whole way of being is influenced by the space that they're in.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for being on the show, John. And now it's time to go over to my Psychology Matters segment, where I'll be talking, having been very inspired by our guest, about how not just to live, but to thrive. Today's Psychology Matters segment is about thriving. Thriving is defined as prosperous growth, so going beyond survival through living to flourishing. The first question is, what is the problem with just getting by? Well, the answer is actually there's nothing wrong with that if that's what makes you feel happy and fulfilled. None of us have any right to judge anybody else with what is getting by, what is thriving, what is living your life to the fullest. Because simply my lifestyle choices, my family choices, my relationship choices, to you that might be settling or that might be just letting life pass me by. But to me, it might be something which I've aspired to get to and the highest I believe I can reach or want to reach. So it's important to remember not to judge each other by our own benchmarks. However, if you are feeling as if you are watching time go by and all that's happening is you're getting older, you might be feeling a little bit disillusioned with life, perhaps you're feeling as if you've underachieved or there's something more out there, then maybe it is time for you to make that change. The next question is, why are some people so content with getting by? As I said in the first place, perhaps they're not getting by, perhaps they are completely fulfilled. But if you do want to make a change and you find that you're not doing it, often what holds us back is fear. And it's not fear because something is saying to you, you can't do it. It's not as conscious as that. But it might be a feeling that certainly as an adult, we're very good at things, we might be extremely accomplished. The thought of starting right back from the beginning somewhere, relearning skills, doing something over again, maybe having teachers that we're not going to get on with, maybe not even being sure whether we can learn, and having to experience failure, that can be a real problem for us. And unfortunately, our brains are so complex, or it's a good thing our brains are complex, but unfortunately for us, what happens is the brain can't tell the difference between a psychological threat and a physical threat. So what will happen is the body kicks into that stress mode. So we might start making excuses as to why we can't do certain things. And they might be very good reasons. Oh, I have too many pressures on me. Oh, I've got these demands, or I've got no time. And those are all very real. But really what's happening is we're putting barriers in our own way. We're putting obstacles in our own way. What we need to find is the courage to take those steps forward and to understand that, yes, we might have to start from the beginning. Yes, there may be things we won't understand, but the hardest thing to do is to take that first step. So how can we thrive? If you are brave enough to take that first step, then release the pressure off you. You've made a huge You've made a huge leap forward by even doing that. And there's almost a pressure we put on ourselves by saying, well, I've done this, I need to be brilliant at it. That's not the case. Be happy with yourself that you have actually done that one thing in the first place, and everything else is a bonus. Surround yourself with people who are good for you, who bring out the best in you, and with people that you bring out the best in as well. A support network is really important. Do things that you love as well. I can't stress that enough. Remember what it is you love. Maybe things that you used to enjoy as a child. Also, remember what you have right now. Sometimes we think, oh, well, I've got these pressures of having a family and so on, but those are your priorities and you chose them at one point, which means that we need to think what we're getting out of that. I have a dog, and sometimes I think, well, I can't just go on holiday because I need to look after her and make sure she's looked after. I might have to work a bit harder, so that's the case. But I then remember how much joy she brings me, and I'm grateful. And the last thing that I would just say is a good practice to get into is start enjoying life with all of your senses. Use your sense of smell, taste, touch, all of those different experiences, because then every situation that you face, you'll get a whole new dimension to what you're feeling and what you're getting from it. Everyone has the opportunity to flourish. We sometimes just need a helping hand to take the first steps. I hope you find some of those tips helpful. Back to you, Chrissy.
Thanks very much to Dr. Audrey Tang there. So after the break, we have on our declutter expert, Sally Walford, who's going to be showing us a few simple ways that we can bring a little extra special something to our homes. And we also have on fitness expert, Natalia Kotowska, with this week's workout. Welcome back, everybody, to today's Chrissy B Show, and today's all about thriving and not just surviving. So now it's time to go to our declutter expert, Sally Walford, who's going to be showing us a few things that we can add to our homes to make it a little bit more special.
Hello everyone, my name is Sally Walford and I'm the declutter expert on the Chrissy B Show. And today I'm going to be talking about home staging and how we can make an extra special something of your home without making it too tricky or expensive. Home staging is definitely part of the service that I offer, and I normally utilise the things that people have in their homes. And one of the major things that I tend to change is lighting. So I just want to show you something that perhaps you haven't thought about before. Lighting comes in all kinds of shapes, sizes, forms. It can make a real difference to the room and also the mood that you're feeling in that room. I bought this rock salt, actually, lamp that I think is absolutely fantastic. And when this is put into a bedroom, this instantly creates a calm, soothing environment for you to be able to relax in. So even just changing a lamp shows that it doesn't have to be too tricky and totally inexpensive. Okay, now I'm going to show you this picture, and this is something that I utilise a lot in home staging. This is mirrors. Mirrors come in, again, all shapes and all sizes. This particular one is a very, very large mirror, as you can see, but this instantly creates lots of space in a room. It allows you to feel relaxed and more comfortable if you're living in quite a small bedroom. Again, if you place a mirror like this against a corner in a room, what you're going to find is that it's going to create a little storage pocket as well. So not only is it adding that extra special feeling to a room, but you're getting a good bit of storage as well. So my next little top tip for making an environment great is utilising flowers and plants. And I know that might sound like the simplest thing, but honestly, just bringing in some colour or some greenery into a room can instantly transform it again. Now, most people, when you talk about sort of like getting a flower pot, might put something as pretty as this. But here's an idea for you. In a small environment, particularly in bathrooms, I love to bring in, or hopefully if my clients have got them, utilise a hanging basket. These are great because you don't have to have a hanging basket outside the home. You can also have them inside. So there's another little top tip for you there. So, my next little hack, I suppose, is fabrics in the home. Fabrics work incredibly well. Again, instantly bringing colour into an environment can change the feel and add that little extra something special. For example, I've got this glittery one which would work great, again, in a bedroom. And then this kind of like cool chic fabric one that was utilised, actually, funnily enough, upcycled from a tea towel. So, and that is kind of funky and cool. And again, you've changed the vibe of the room. And just to show you something else that works quite well is this slide here. I'm going to show you how an ironing board can actually appear kind of quite cool and also can be in a great storage solution for you there. It's hung on the hangers at the top, and as you can see, this great little Marilyn Monroe cover is kind of like adding a picture almost to where the ironing board's being stored. So let's think about fabrics as well. They work great around that home. Okay. So, I would like to talk about another slide that I've got for you today. It's really important as a declutterer that, and although I'm not a minimalist, I'm a realist. I have everything in my home that is beautiful and useful. I don't have anything that I don't use or that I consider that I don't particularly like that much. So it's really important when you're picking out things that you're probably going to get rid of, or maybe even donating to charity, etc., that you're keeping back things that are useful and also really appeal to you. And this was actually one of my clients' one, and it was such a great, again, upcycled material. It's utilised from metal and cork. And this was actually a table made out to be the top of a wine bottle, which I thought was quite ingenious. So the other slide that I've got for you, again, is about trunks. Now, trunks, great. I mean, I think I've talked about them quite a few times, but they are brilliant because not only are they aesthetically pleasing, but they're also great little storage solutions. And this one actually has some beautiful decollage that was added on top to make it prettier, and also that is utilised for keeping extra bedding in, plus being utilised as a coffee table. So that's a real 3-in-1. Storage, beautiful and pretty at the same time. Okay, so my last little top tip is about utilising storage that I found in different rooms in a different way that can be used as well in creating different feels around the home. And in this instance, funnily enough, I'm picking a vegetable rack. So a vegetable rack that has been utilised in 3 different ways, just to show you that little extra something that can change. And in this particular instance, the vegetable rack was utilised for a very small kitchen. And although it might be a funny thing to be talking about, like adding a little bit of something special, it really did, because it created more space in the kitchen area. And this particular client had all of her dining room plates, etc., all stored, and we put that underneath another kitchen section. So it tucked everything away for her, and therefore it created more space in the kitchen. So if we have a look at the next one, again, the vegetable rack, and this time utilised for sewing materials and craft materials. I think you can see here we've got lots of spinning wheels for the sewing machine, bubble wrap, and all that kind of thing. Again, creating a little bit more space for my clients. But here we go, here's the last one I wanted to show you. and ever so simple. But again, this could add a little bit of luxury to a really tiny toilet or shower room. And all we've done is we've folded the beautiful sheets and the towels in that way, but even just adding a tiny small white dish with a little bit of soap in it has made it feel a little bit more luxurious. So there you go. We've got, that's all my top tips from how to get that little bit of extra something special. Back to you, Chrissy.
Thanks very much to Sally there. So now it's time to go to our workout of the week with fitness expert Natalia Kotowska.
Hey guys, my name is Natalia Kotowska and Katie with Nat, your fitness expert, fitness instructor. And I'm very excited for today because today I'll show you some functional movement for our core stability. I'm extremely excited because for me, very important is to use all functional movement so you can take it home, take it to your work environment, take it outside, wherever you are. You travel, you're at home, you're in your office, any environment. Today, I'll present you plank, very important functional movement because it helps our core stability, including all muscles in the whole body. So, let me show it to you. First variation is very simple. I want you to hold it nice and tight. So tuck your belly button in, tuck your belly button in, breathe in, hold your hand above your shoulders, look in front if you can. It's not ideal to look at the floor, but I know that it's quite difficult to keep looking in front. But if you can, please do it. Squeeze your glutes, so your cheeks, squeeze it, use your legs, and hold it for maybe 30 up to 60 seconds if you can. That's the first variation. Second one, once you're here, you want to touch your shoulders. Hop, hop. Again, at least 30 seconds. If you can, go for 60 seconds. Keep holding, keep touching, keep working. Again, remember about that belly button. Squeeze your your glutes, hold it, and try to touch your shoulders. Next ones, once you're here, what we can do is go on our elbows, low, all the way up. Change side, all the way up. Again, if you can, go for 60 seconds. If you need a break, that's fine. Take a deep breath in. Have a 60 seconds of break, come back to your exercise. Remember, elbows all the way up. Once you're on your elbows, hold it here and use your hips. Go all the way down, down, down. Almost touching with your hips, floor. So you wanna use your core as much as you can. Use your hips, keep touching, keep touching. Again, if you can, hold it. If you cannot, walk out, take a deep breath in, get yourself ready for the last one. Side, holding side. You wanna go on your heels over there, hold it, tuck your belly button in, and hold. If you can, hold your hips and do the hip dips. In, out. If it's too difficult, again, you can be on your elbows. Again, over here, in, out, in, out. And after one side, you change to the other side. And with this variation, you have at least 5-6 minutes of intensive workout. Thank you so much for today. I hope you enjoy it. And let's train together, guys. See you next time.
Thank you very much to Natalia there. So after the break, we have on Hannah Richards, who'll be showing us a very clever idea on how to store our fruit salads when we're on the go. And we also have Lily Suter on to answer all of your questions, including this one. I'm thinking of starting a keto diet as I have a bit of weight to lose, which I don't seem to be able to shift. Can you tell me more about it and how to do it to get the best results? find out what she has to say after this break. Hi, I'm Chrissy B, host of the UK's only TV programme dedicated to mental health and well-being, The Chrissy B Show, which airs on MyTV Sky 191 every Monday, Wednesday and Friday. Follow our social media on YouTube, Instagram and Twitter at Chrissy B Show and our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. For more information, visit chrissybshow.tv. Welcome back to today's Chrissy B Show, everybody. So now it's time to head over to Hannah Richards' kitchen for an idea on how to store a fruit salad when we're on the go.
Hello and welcome to the Chrissy B Show. My name's Hannah Richards and today I'm just going to make you a fruit salad. But I'm going to make it in a jam jar. Now I know you've got loads of jam jars hanging around, guys, and they're the most perfect things to be carrying your food in. So don't throw them out, keep them for when you decide to prepare your food and take it into work with you or take it on a trip or on the train. Then you'll always make sure that you've got a really good amount of nutritious food for you and you don't have to buy any of those snacks that are full of nasties out there in the big wide world. So we're going to start with a banana. And we're just going to chop it down. We're probably only going to use half a banana. Sometimes people get a bit scared of bananas. There's nothing to be scared of. They're full of potassium. All fruit's got sugar in it, but we need sugar in our lives and in our bodies and in our bloodstream. So don't get nervous about bananas. They give you lots and lots of energy. So the bottom is going to be a banana. Shake it down. And with each layer, I'm going to put some ginger through the middle or some lemon rind. Lemon rind gives us a huge amount of vitamin C. The ginger helps us digest and the juice of the lemon is going to help oxidation. So the moment you cut into all your fruit, it'll start oxidizing, which is, it's natural, it's a normal process. But what happens when things oxidize too much, because air has got to them, they start turning black. So we're just going to preserve that. So a little bit of ginger, just shave the bits in, you don't want too much. And then just going to shave a little bit of lemon rind off, very gently. If you don't like it, you could use orange rind, or if it's just too bitter for you, don't use any. I'm going to squeeze a bit of juice in on every level. There we go. Then we're going to use an apple. I've got a big green apple here. You could use any apple you like. There we go. I'm going to keep the skin on. The skin is where all the vitamin C is as well, unless you're not a fan of the skin. And again, just layer that through, making sure they all sit down and behave themselves. Then I'm going to take one of my favorites, a pineapple. The great thing about pineapples is they're full of a digestive enzyme called bromelain. And again, bromelain is going to help you digest your food, especially your meats. So sometimes you might see gammon steak with a pineapple on the side. The pineapple is there for its enzymatic qualities to help you break down the meat. So just chop the bum off. And I'm just going to take one slice and then get your knife in there and then just peel around. There you go, like that. Then just cut around the core and then just chop up into smaller bite-sized pieces. So our pineapple already has its digestive powers. press it all down. There we go. Then we're going to use our pomegranate. Pomegranates are really high in antioxidants, and antioxidants are really good for us when we've been damaging our bodies with free radicals like working too hard or smoke, pollution, bad food, not enough sleep, etc., etc. So when you take your pomegranate, you just want to feel where the flesh is and where the core is, and you can feel the pomegranates popping. So you want to cut down those lines that they're not. And I'm just going to peel them off into the top of the jar. Pomegranates just make everything look sexy. So always top your salads with some pomegranate. Then we're going to grab an orange for a bit of sweetness and squeeze it through the rest of the fruits. So cut it there and just slowly let the juice of the orange seep out through the fruit salad. You can give it a helping hand by just squeezing a knife into the middle of the fruit, and again just moving it up and down, getting a bit of the flesh of the orange as well for extra texture and extra flavour. Bon. Take your lid, close tightly, give it a shake, and you've got on the go fruit salad.
Thank you very much to Hannah there. So now it's time to head over to Lily Suter to answer your nutritional questions.
Hi everybody, I'm Lily Suter. I'm the nutritionist on the Chrissy B Show, and this week I'm going to be answering the viewer questions. So the first question is, I'm thinking of starting a keto diet as I have a bit of weight to lose which I don't seem to be able to shift. Can you tell me more about it, and how do you go to get the best results? So my answer to this really would be just to think about whether the ketogenic diet really is the best diet for you. Ketogenic diets are very low carbohydrate diets, so they typically are under around 50 grams of carbohydrates per day. They're very high in fat, and they also come with moderate amounts of protein. And what's really important to remember is if this is a diet that you can actually sustain longer term, it's a very, very restrictive diet. And research suggests that any kind of diets really do work as long as you stick to them and you're in a calorie deficit. So there's no one better diet than another. And at about a year, when you look at low carb diets and low fat diets, they both show the same amount of weight loss. Some areas to look at with the keto diet would be your fibre intake. Because you are pulling out a whole food group from your diet, such as the carbohydrates, you also remove a lot of the fibre from your diet, which actually is key areas for health. So fibre is really important for satiety, it's important for cardiovascular health and diabetes. And we've actually seen changes in the gut microbiome when we remove fibre from the diet in a negative way. So you could focus on things like chia and also flax seeds, which are low carb ways of introducing more fibre into the diet. And then lastly, with a ketogenic diet, I would suggest being mindful of extra keto products, such as ketogenic bars or ketogenic ice creams and other low carb products which you find in supermarkets. Because if you are over consuming any type of ketogenic product and you're consuming too many calories, this will hinder weight loss. And just because it's low carb doesn't mean it will trigger weight loss. So the next question is, I would like to start taking collagen supplements. However, am I able to get collagen naturally from the food I eat? So collagen really is a protein, and many people take collagen supplements to prevent wrinkles or for anti-aging properties. And what we've got to remember is that collagen is simply a protein, and you can find it in abundance in different types of foods. And when we take collagen supplements, what happens is it will break down in the body to lots of these things called amino acids, and those amino acids could actually go and reform to develop any type of protein within the body, such as muscle tissue, hair, skin, nails, but it doesn't necessarily lead to anti-aging properties and collagen within the skin. And if we're thinking of an anti-aging property, we've got to think about things like vitamin C, which actually have a bigger effect on collagen synthesis and collagen production. Thank you so much for listening to the viewer questions this week. Back to you, Chrissy.
Thank you very much to Lily there. Well, do stay tuned, because after the break, we're going to be featuring our good cause of the week, which is the Felix Project. Welcome back to today's Chrissy B Show, everybody. Let's take a look at this.
Enfield warehouse and in North London. So we've got one warehouse here in Enfield, we have a warehouse in West London in Park Royal, and we have vans and bicycle people collecting food on bicycle and on foot in central London. Here in Enfield we've got 3 permanent members of staff. What they do, they have such busy days, they do loads of stuff. They recruit suppliers, find charities and schools to give the food to, they manage the volunteers, they run events, they make sure that the warehouses run smoothly and that all of our vans can leave every day, every morning and every afternoon on time. They're really busy people making it all happen.
I'm Damien Conrad, and I'm depot coordinator here at Enfield, working for the Felix Project, and my role here is to work with charities to get them on board, try to plan the routes to deliver food to them. I'm working with suppliers, so recently we went to an event and we were trying to get new suppliers on board, and then feeding through to Anne on the other side of the charity, and she's then creating those relationships. And I'm working with the volunteers, so we're looking after the volunteers, trying to recruit them, induct them, and once they're on board, trying to make sure that their experience is a rich one and a kind of uplifting and wonderful experience.
Just really nice to do something where you can get out and about and you see the good you're doing. You can actually go to the schools and the charities and actually see where it's going, and you see where the need is, and you're actually connecting with people and saying, and you get home and you think, I've done something, you know, useful. I've taken this food, it's going to be thrown out, and brought it to people who need it. So it's quite satisfying to do that.
Radishes, they're amazing. So these radishes would just have otherwise gone to waste, but we're going to make sure that they go to charities and schools from this afternoon and holiday programs.
I'm a pensioner, so I don't work, so this gives me the opportunity to do volunteering. I like driving, so I'm doing this job. It feels good because there's many people who have to go without food sometimes. So this is our just delivering. Okay.
This is the British Alevi Federation headquarters. I'm the chairperson. My name is Israfil Erbil. This is where vulnerable and people in need comes for food banks every Tuesday. So, and thanks to Felix project, so they're helping us to support this project we're running here as well. And the stuff comes from Felix. They prepared outside as salads or tins opens and make a light food or cold food. Maybe some of them are hot food, and then they are put on the counter here, and people come in and they take it. And this is really a good support for those who is in need.
The Felix project started 3 years ago, just over 3 years ago, and Felix was a young lad. He came from a good family, but he was playing football regularly against competition who were coming to matches and hadn't eaten properly. And he had enormous amount of compassion, was really concerned about the well-being of those people. And Felix died suddenly, which was terrible. And as his legacy, his parents have set up this project.
Hi, you're right. Hi, how are you?
Have you got anything for us?
Yes, we've got quite a bit today. Oh, I need a couple of hands.
Thank you very much.
That one's a heavy one. And then, yeah. Cool, have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers, have a nice day.
You too, have a good day.
Bye. We, here at Holtwise Bakery, we give bread to the Felix project. It's a really important thing to us. The extra, instead of it going to waste, the extra bread that we don't sell, it's putting it to a good cause and putting it back into the community is really a really important part of our business and what we believe in here at the bakery.
Yeah, you can do, yeah.
And the project started 3 years ago with one person, one van, one charity, one supplier. Has grown from there. It grows exponentially. So 6 weeks ago, we reckoned that we were going to be doing 5 million meals a year. Each of our volunteers will be going out there and they'll be delivering 250 meals to a charity, and the charity may be a homeless hostel, it may be a youth club, it may be a mental health charity, people dealing with AIDS and HIV or rehabilitation of ex-offenders, the whole gamut of people who are vulnerable here in London. And the responses we get back, the love and affection we get for our charity is quite incredible. And most of them are saying to us, look, if it wasn't for you, we either wouldn't exist as a charity or we wouldn't be able to provide the food that we do.
Thank you very much to the Felix Project and also actually to all my guests that we've had on today's programme. I hope you've benefited from today's show. So I would like to now talk about my take on thriving and not just surviving. When I do my talks, I go to schools, I do various events, or I speak about my story and I speak about the importance of opening up about mental health. I do sometimes hear other speakers, and as I've said before, I respect other people's opinions, but there are times when I hear things like, well, once you have this mental health issue, you have it for life, you have to learn to manage the condition. But I just think that is one option. Yes, there are times when, you know, people might think, well, this is okay for me. I'm happy to take medication for the rest of my life. I'm happy to manage my condition. I'm happy to, you know, have my ups and my downs. As long as I have a few good days in my life, then it's fine if I have a few bad ones. But I also like to give the other option, which I know is out there, I know exists because it's happened to me, and that is the option of full recovery as well. I don't believe that you have to learn to live with a mental health condition. I believe in full recovery. It's happened to me, it's happened to so many people that I know. But the problem is sometimes we hear so much about, you know, it's okay not to be okay. And yes, I agree, it's okay not to be okay. There are times when we, you know, everybody goes through something in life, but it doesn't mean they have to stay that way for the rest of their life. So I always urge people, if you want more than just kind of surviving, if you want more than just living and having ups and downs, if you want to actually thrive in life and not worry anymore about having to deal with this mental health condition or this problem in your life, then fight for it. It's out there for the taking. I haven't had depression or panic attacks or OCD or any mental health issues for over 22 years. Over 22 years, so that's proof. Actually, I remember one day speaking to a lady just out on the street, and we just started chatting, and she said, when I told her my story, she said, oh, well, you're just one of the lucky ones. And I said, well, how can I just be lucky? 22 years lucky. So it's not about luck. It's about finding something that eliminates mental health issues, something that gets rid of the things that you're going through completely. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying that, it just comes easy and you don't have to fight for it. I had to fight for it. I really had to fight for it. But because I believed that it was possible to overcome these problems, so then I found the solution. So if you want the same, all I'm saying to you is that you have a choice. You have a choice, yes. If you're happy to manage your mental health condition, then fine and good luck to you. I hope, you do well in life. But if you say, do you know what, I'm not happy with this, I don't think I should just learn to just get by and have a few happy moments. I want to be happy for real. So then fight for it. And if you want to know more information about how I found my total recovery, you can visit my personal website, which is mylifeafterdepression.com. Until next time, bye-bye for now.